Hello Flosstube, hello all my fellow creatives, hello friends. My name is Margaret. You've come to my channel, Maggie Lou Stitches. Thank you for joining me here on my channel where I talk all about cross stitch and other creative endeavours. I have a lot to talk about today, which I'm really happy about. I realised lately it's been over a year since I've been doing this Flosstube. Which is very exciting. I don't tend to celebrate anniversaries very much, but it's still good to notice. And I was thinking about my year of floss tubing and how much even it's changed and I've changed over that year. And it's like, look, someone out there should do some research into the evolution of floss tubers, because I think we all have witnessed in the community, well, I think it's a thing where you watch a floss tuber start and they're a type of stitcher and you watch that change. And that's me. Bye monogamy. I am so thrilled. It's like a switch has flicked and suddenly I get it. I get wanting to stitch on multiple projects. I get it, and I want to, and I am, and I will be more. Something's changed. Talk about one other effect of Flosstube. We all refer to enabling very much, and I have been enabled, and let's start talking about that one because it's a new start, it's a new project, and it's one I'm very grateful for. So one of my lovely viewers of this channel, who also has her own Instagram, not Flosstube, but Instagram, that is called Stitching Is My Happy Place. She's another Aussie friend, Marie. Noticing how much I liked K-pop and BTS, she offered me a chart that she is stitching for her daughter, and it is a chart of BTS, the infamous K-pop group, and she gifted it to me and I couldn't start it quick enough. Thank you, Marie. I'm very grateful for this. I'll show you. This is BTS. These are the 7 members of BTS. Starting from this end, Kim Namjoon, Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi, Jung Ho-sok, Park Jimin, Kim Taehyung, and John Jungkook. And I'm stitching this. Thank you, Marie. I'm so happy. I got a really good start on it. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, I forgot to write down who this is by. I've got it for all of the other ones. I just forgot to write that down for this one. So I'll put it on the screen. I don't think it's available anymore. I couldn't find it. So there you go. So here's my little start. I'm doing it on a 40 count linen just because I had that in stash. And so once Marie sent me the pattern and I had it in stash, and because it's a very grayscale pattern, I had most of the flosses as well, so I could just get started straight away. So here we are. This is Kim Namjoon's hair. Kim Namjoon's stage name is RM. I like this to be a little K-pop lesson at the same time, a little BTS lesson. You'll all know the members of BTS by the time I finish this. Okay, Kim Namjoon, stage name RM. I've got something else about him to talk about a bit later. Anyway, yeah, so this is my start and I love it. I love the fact that it's got purples and greens in it as part of the grayscale. You know, it's actually not just blacks and whites and greys. Anyway, so that is how big it's going to be, roughly. And yay to my BTS project. Oh my goodness. This makes me so happy. I cannot wait to get back to this. Which is another thing that we hear floss tubers say all the time. Once they present something on Flosstube, I cannot wait to get back to this. I love this. I can't wait to stitch on it more. Oh, I'm just a stereotype now, really. Okay, so that's the first new start that I wanted to show you. New project, hooray. Next, sticking with the K-pop theme, we have a finish. I am so happy to say that I finished my Earbuds by Ink Circles. Now, just for comparison, to show you the different kinds, I'm going to show you what their mock-up looked like, except, yeah, here we go. This is the mock-up on the Ink Circles website. MP3 player with lots of little mini album covers next to it. And I finished mine. Now, I'm very happy about this. I'm very happy about this. I'm very excited. Ta-da! Here is my K-pop inspired version of earbuds. Now, I showed you in the last episode all of the album covers, but what I've decided since finishing this is that is not nearly enough album covers. I want to cram this with albums. I want so many magnets on there that, you know, it's full. So I've done 3 more. Let me just describe those. Some of them, you know, some of them are more successful in their interpretation than others, which is fine. But I just noticed that. I'll do it on here. So there's 3 new ones. This album is Blue Paradise by Zero Base One. This album is Empathy by NCT. Now this, back to BTS and Kim Namjoon, stage name RM. This is one of his solo albums, which is called Indigo, which I love. I hope they're coming up all right and that you'll be able to see them enough to be able to compare them to the actual album covers. All the rest I described in my last episode. But so this is Ink Circles. I'm very happy with being able to move them all around and just how it is. I want to do many, many more. Other thing, which might have been so obvious to lots of people, but just occurred to me now, is I can also use these as needle minders. And that makes me very happy. I've only got 2 needle minders, a purple butterfly and a pink butterfly. They were just cheap needle minders that I got online somewhere once and thought that's all I'll ever need. And now I've got so many more here, and I can make many. So, ta-da, this is my finished project. I'm very happy with it. You know, it looks so different from the mock-up. I made very different colour choices, and as with any creative project, I was uncertain about those when I was halfway through the project. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna, I don't know if it looks any good. Now I love it. So just as a recap, last Christmas, I asked my family for no material gifts. My gifts for Christmas, I wanted them to scour the internet and have a look at cross-stitch patterns and gift to me, not to buy the pattern or anything, but just their gift to me was a picture of a cross-stitch pattern that they really liked, that they thought if ever I stitched that, that'd be great, because I was making no commitments to do that. And this is the pattern that my daughter, Gillian, picked. And I was thrilled with that. I just went, oh yeah, I'm doing that straight away. So that's a finish from last Christmas, which is really good. A finish. Oh, I've got another finish. And actually, this is a restart and a finish. I had already started this, I think, last episode or the episode before, I cannot remember. But I realised I'd positioned it on a large piece of fabric right in the middle, and I realised I could position it on this fabric differently and have more fabric for another project. So I took it out, I restarted it on this little one. Now it's on a little piece of fabric. Anyway, this is Summer Nights by Cute Patterns by Maria. It is stitched on 32 count Lavender Evenweave by Zweigart, and I just think it's a little cutie. I did the DMC version of it, and I'm looking for a little frame. I'm feeling quite particular about this. I can picture a little a little frame, and it's an odd size for frames. It's sort of 3 by 4 inch, and a lot of frames are 4 by 6 inch, but I reckon I can get a little one that suits. So this sort of now sits in like a category of like, I've got to be patient and look everywhere for like probably old thrifted frames, or just, yeah, unusual frames. When I go to all the major stores and look at all the frames, it's just standard sizes, and I haven't found anything different yet, but I'm gonna find it because I want a cute little frame for this. So I really enjoyed that. 2 finishes, very happy with that. And of course, finishes allow for starts. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, I've got more starts to show you. Okay, this one sort of has a bit of a story, and I'll show you the fabric first. This is a large piece, I won't unfold it yet, but this is a large piece of 32 count linen in the colour tobacco. And I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this piece of linen, and that is because I bought it years and years and years ago when I was first re-entering needlework interest, and I didn't know if it was going to be cross stitch or embroidery or tapestry or anything. So this day that I went to a needlework store, I bought a whole lot of materials, all that were on sale, because I just knew I was entering an experimental phase. So it didn't matter what I purchased, and I'd do different things with it depending on what. And so this was a large piece of this that was really cheap. And I just thought, oh, I don't know what I'll do with that, but I'll work it out one day. So I've probably had this for about 10 years. And sometimes I look at it and I just think that is the most awful colour. Who would ever stitch on that? And sometimes I look at it and think, how interesting that's going to be. That's really quite a lovely colour. That's going to be really impactful with the right design on it. And I to and fro with it the whole time. And finally, I have picked a design that I want to stitch on this fabric. I want it out of my life. And I kept thinking, I don't have to stitch on it. I could donate it, I could get rid of it, but that feels a bit like giving up. You know, I actually want to work out what is going to look really good on this. I want to create with it, and I want to make something beautiful. So I did show you a picture of the design that I've gone for. And this is also something I've been wanting to stitch for a long time, because years ago when I was working with Nadine Dudek, the artist who I designed cross-stitch patterns for based off her artwork, I started thinking about, because I was charting art, I started thinking about my own art, and I thought I could chart some of my Zentangle projects, my opus tile creations. And so I practiced, I started playing with that, and I started to try to design some of that, and very quickly found that that was not going to work to my satisfaction. They didn't come off very well. To come off with the amount of detail that would have satisfied me, they would have been enormous, like enormous. To do it at the size that they're in, lost a lot of detail, and it just wasn't satisfying. But then through that process, I started looking at other designers and cross stitchers and thinking, well, has anyone done this before? Maybe somebody else has done it, and it'll show me that it can be done. I mean, of course it can be done, but it'll show me, it'll inspire me. And I found a whole lot of patterns that are essentially samplers or mandalas that have the same effect that I found more satisfying. So here's an example of one, and this is the one I've decided to start. This is called Sampler 148 by 2x2 Stitch Art on Etsy. They have dozens or hundreds of these types of designs, and I think that's very Zentangle-like. So I finally have decided to stitch this design on this fabric, which meant starting a whole journey of colour. What colour to do on this. It's a monochrome piece, so that's not true. You could pick many colours to do that in, or one. And so I have been on the hunt for the best colour, or my favourite colour, or the best colour. And I got myself there. I went to my local needlework store, and my daughter and I spent ages there with this fabric, you know, spread out, and just putting lots of different flosses on it. Overdyes and DMCs and Cosmos and silks and cottons and all sorts, just trying to find the colour that satisfied. And I came away with a DMC blendable thread that was actually in sort of greens and pinks, and I didn't think that was what I was going to go for, but when I put it together it actually looked really good. So I just bought one skein just to try it out, and I did a sample test of it, and it didn't work. It was just not nice. I didn't even take a photo of it. I didn't anything. I knew straight away. I think this needs really high contrast for good impact, and that wasn't found. Anyway, I knew that on this colour I wanted blue. I felt that blue would be the best colour to go on this, and so then I started going through my blues. Anyway, I'll cut a long story short and say that I got to a colour, and it's so funny to go on a long journey of exploration only to arrive at what I already knew was my favourite DMC colour. I was like, why didn't I think of that in the first place? When I was kitting up for my butterfly full coverage project, it uses the colour 979. Oh my God, I've even forgotten my favourite colour. And I saw it as I was kitting it up, and I just went, this is my favourite colour. This is it. 979? Yeah, I think so. And so I've always known that, but I forgot about that when I was looking at colours. So I finally did a test in that colour. And so this is my start of sampler 148 in that blue. Now, I'm trying to get it where the blue really, it has a brightness to it that I like, that a lot of the other blues didn't. I thought just navy would be really lovely, but it was actually quite dull. It needed to be some brightness. So I started this and I thought, yeah, that's it. However, it's going to be quite big too. It's going to be really quite big, which is fine. However, after having tested it with the DMC blendables, I also really enjoyed working with a variegated floss. Like, really enjoy watching the colours change. So I had been looking for variegated blues, but I hadn't found any that had a brightness to them. They were all the wrong kind of colour. So I was happy to just start stitching away. It was going to be this happy. And then at my last trip to my needlework store, I saw they actually had a little sample collection of sulky threads, variegated, and in that was a blue that I thought, oh, hold everything. That looks really good. But I didn't want to buy this sample pack. I just wanted to try that one. So I didn't buy it then. I came home, found it online, and it's arriving in the post. So it's not here yet. When it comes, I will do a sample stitch of that to see if it's going to be this colour or if it's going to be the sulky 12 weight, which I'd quite like to use. I kind of am hoping it's the sulky 12 weight. I believe, because I've never used sulky before, and I believe the 12 weight is equal to 2 strands of DMC, which is what I'm using here. So it would be great to just use one strand of variegated sulky to hopefully get this bright blue effect on this mandala sampler thing. So that's where I'm at with that. Another new start. And you know what I'm really enjoying about all of these projects is just the difference, whether you're like, this one's on a 32 count coloured fabric, this one's on a 40 count white linen, you know, this one's on a 32 count lavender Evenweave, and all the different, they all feel different. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying that. So that's another new start. Do you know what? From this, I'm actually going to go on to talk about Zentangle for a bit before I get to some more new projects. Because I haven't done much Zentangle. So in my last episode, I showed a Zentangle finish, which was a finished opus tile. And I decided I'd start another one and do it. Now, I had one that I'd already started. I'll show it to you here. Now, this is an opus tile. It's in the colour Renaissance. So it is this sort of muted beige colour, which just gives a different effect to the cream that I usually use. This was a tile, just these corners had been done. That's it. I had done them months and months and months ago when I was chatting to a friend on the phone, and we decided to do some creativity, not on the phone, on video. And we decided to do some creativity together. She was doing colouring in and I was doing Zentangle while we chatted. And I just managed to get these in, and then it sat for months. We didn't do that again. We just got back to chatting. And so I picked this up and thought, oh, well, I'll keep going on this as a my next Zentangle opus. So I filled in all the rest of it with all of that tangling. That was about, maybe 1 or 2 sessions, and I haven't touched it since, probably for about a month. But this is my next Zentangle in progress. But it has, with all of these new projects, with loving my cross stitching, this hasn't seen the light of day very much. But when I went to put my other one away that I just finished, the last episode, I put it away in this folder, in this book, that has all of my other finished Zentangle opuses. And I thought, oh, well, I'm going to show you other finished ones. Or I'm going to show you one today. I got it out, and now where is it? I'm going to show you one that I had finished previously, just because, why not? They're all here. And rather than waiting for the one in progress, I will show you another one now. Except I got it out because I was being really organized today. So I can't believe it. Oh, found it. This is from so long ago. This is a tile I finished in 2019, but I love this one. It's very dramatic. So, this is a tile where I used the same tangle. Okay, so each frame is actually the same tangle, just done smaller, and then filled with other tangles. So I did a repeating tangle in smaller, decreasing sizes. I really love that. So I just wanted to present another Maggie Lou Zentangle original from 2019. But I'll keep going with this one as well, and we can watch the unfolding progress of that and see where it goes, because I never know where it's going to go either. Of course, with cross stitches, we know where they're going to go because we have a picture. Okay. Along with Zentangle, I just really wanted to give a shout out to Stitcher Moose. This was such a good Flosstube find, thanks to Katie, Jeremiah's mum, who shouted out Stitcher Moose, and I went straight away to have a look, because if Katie says, I look. Stitcher Moose describes himself as a male red flannelled cross stitcher, and it is true. He wears a red flannel and a black and red flannel. And he started floss tubing 10 years ago, which is kind of amazing to me because I wasn't even in the cross stitch world at that point. And then he floss tubed for about a year and then had a break for 9 years, and he's back. And the reason I got, look, it's an enjoyable floss tube for all its content, but I couldn't believe it when, I think, was it in one of his earlier videos or a new one? I can't remember which one it was, but he brought out a lot of Zentangle tiles to show. He's a tangler as well. I found another tangling cross stitcher. Oh my goodness, I was happy. But then that aside, just the cross-stitching journey, he too, you know, is an evolving cross-stitcher. Go over and watch Stitch a Moose. Really great, very entertaining. He's got a very entertaining style. You should go watch for that. Oh, I was so happy to find Stitch a Moose. That was such a joy. I have some more starts still to show you. Okay, so let's go to this one next. Okay, this one I haven't started yet, but it's a new kit that arrived. When I saw this pattern years ago, months ago, when you get that knowing, it's just, I have to stitch that. I have to find that pattern. I have to stitch it. I did find it. It's an RTO kit. Yes, yes. This is such a depiction of my cat Charlie's attitude and visuals. She is a black cat, but it's that eye peeking out that just says, what? That's Charlie all over. And I just thought, oh yeah, I'm stitching this. And so yeah, I was a bit worried. It took ages to get here, and I was a bit worried it was not going to arrive. I've had that before with a pattern that I purchased. I think in my second or third Flosstube I talked about that. It didn't make it, and it ended up back at the sender in Europe, and they refunded me, and that was fine. But still, you want to stitch what you've ordered. And so I contacted the people who I bought it from, which was Hobby Do Craft. They were so helpful and just sort of talked me through it and said, look, we think it's going to get there. We will by all means give you a refund. We know it's longer than both you and I expected, but our experience tells us it's going to get there. If you don't want to wait, we'll send you a refund. But if you're willing to wait a bit longer, we think it's going to get there. I was like, God, I want to, thank you for the reassurance. I want it to come. And it did. I was very happy. I wrote them back and said, yay, it's arrived. Thank you, thank you. The only changes I'm making is that the kit materials are a 14 count Ada. You all need to see that, don't you? We don't know what 14 count Ada looks like. And this tantalizing palette, which is fine. Like I said, I quite enjoy grayscale cross stitching. However, I have decided to change out the fabric, and I've bought some 40 count linen. So it is going to be a smaller design on this, and I think it's going to be absolutely lovely. So no stitch in the fabric yet, but I'm going to start it imminently. New project. As soon as I want. Actually, when it came, so it was going to be my next project that I started. It arrived, yay, I'm going to start it. And I think it was the same day Marie sent me the BTS, or maybe it hadn't arrived yet. That's right. I was waiting for it to arrive and I was going to start it. And then Marie sent me the BTS one. And honestly, you couldn't get me sitting in my stitching chair quick enough to start putting stitches in that linen that I had for that project. And so when this then arrived, I was like, oh, but it's okay. I'm doing this other grayscale project. So what I decided was I'll put Little Pussycat away and not start it for months until I'd finished the BTS. And then all of these other things happened, and now I'm like, screw that, I'm starting them all. Okay, speaking of Jeremiah's mum, I sound like Katie now. I'm stitching them all. We have one more new start. Yes, we do. Okay, so a few episodes ago, and I'll put the details here, I've completed a cross-stitch pattern called Feeling Tender. And when I saw that pattern, it reminded me of my niece, Alex. And I just thought, I'm going to stitch that for her. I don't even know if she'd like it, but I'm going to stitch that for her. For some reason, it just made me think of Alex. So then I stitched it up, and when it was finished, I thought two things. I thought, I really don't know if she'll like this. I don't know if it's her style at all. I think it is, but I don't know. I guess I entered into some doubt on that. And the other is I thought, I really like it, and I don't want to give it away. And so I decided to just keep it, to just not do anything with it. And I just sat it in my home and enjoyed it. And then one day last month, I just walked into my bedroom where it was sitting. I just looked at it and I knew without a doubt, that is for Alex. This doubt? No. So I just picked it up and just, the next time I was going up to her place, I just took it with me, put it there and just said, this is for you, Alex. I made this for you, but I got doubt and I, kept it for myself for a while, but it was always intended for you. Actually, the funny thing is she was in Japan at the time. She was traveling, so I just left it there because I just thought I was gonna wait till she got back from Japan. I just thought no more delays, just take it to her. Now, that was all really good, but her sister, Amy, came home. They lived together with my sister, their mum. She came home and saw that, what's this? And my sister said, that's for Alex. Margaret made it for Alex. Amy got on to message me straight away. Excuse me, no, that is mine. I love that so much. That's me. That's me all over. That should be for you. I want that. Get that to me. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. That is Alex's through and through. And she was just like, it's got butterflies. It's so me. And she said, I want to cross stitch now. And she got online and started looking at other patterns like that. And she sent me through a few pictures and said, do you think these would be okay for me to stitch? Now hold the phone. Suddenly my niece wants to cross stitch and she's asking me about cross stitch patterns. I was like, oh my God. The encourager in me just fired up and I was like, yes, Amy, this would be great. And she showed me a couple of patterns, and the patterns that she showed me I thought were really very reasonable. It's not like a brand new cross stitcher, got up a Heaven and Earth Designs and said, can I start this full coverage tomorrow? Look, the answer is yes, but also, just chill. Anyway, she came up with some really beautiful ideas. So among them were these two patterns that I'm about to show you, which is just called Cute Cherry Bow by Cross Stitch Wow on Etsy. And I just thought that was very cute and a very reasonable first cross stitch pattern. So I bought that for her and bought the all the floss and a nerd hoop and delivered it to her and said, go to town, become a cross stitcher. Now, so she has started stitching away on that. I ask her every now and again, how are you going on it? And she goes, yeah, it's really interesting. It's not as easy as you think, but it's also not as hard as you think. It's both. I'm like, yes, that's very good. I'm trying not to be too intrusive. But then, of course, the other day she turned 30. And we were getting together for her 30th, and suddenly I just went, the other cross stitch that she loved, which I was recommending that she go on to next. If she enjoyed the cherry bow pattern, she should go on to this one next. And suddenly I just thought, Margaret, stitch that for your niece for her 30th birthday. And this is that one that she picked. It is called, Floral Boho Girl by Laser Arts Designs on Etsy. And I think she's really beautiful. It was funny when she, showed me this one. I don't know, I was impressed with her choices. It's quite a reasonable size. It's a reasonable number of stitches. I think it's got, no, I'm not going to say how many colors it's got, but it was reasonable. It was a good pattern and I like it. So I have started this for her birthday. And she knows about it because we got together on her birthday and I gave her a little card and had this picture inside it saying, don't you worry, girl, you're getting your own cross stitch. Sorry, I gave your big sister one first. Anyway, here is my start on Floral Boho Girl. And the other fun thing about this is the fabric. It's still in the hoop, which it shouldn't be because I stitched on it last night and I am taking things out of the hoop overnight. But something happened last night. I had to just stop at the stitch I was at, not even finish it at all, and then I forgot about it when I went to bed. But I'm stitching this on I'll show it to you first. Here's my start. I started in the center And I don't know if this fabric is showing itself well at all. And I knew that would be an issue trying to show it. It is the most muted pastel pinks and blues fabric. It is spring watercolors, printed 28 count linen by Fabric Flair. And it is so lovely. Now, the problem is though, I'm being a bit tricky because I'm really cutting it fine with the size of this fabric. It was the only piece that they had left for sale. I was looking for what I was going to stitch it on. I thought I was just going to do a plain colour. And I saw this, it was the only piece that was left. And the size of it means it's going to be really tight across. Up and down it's going to be fine, but I'm giving myself almost no edge on the side. But I liked it so much, I thought it'll be right. Famous last words, will I be regretting that? It has the loveliest colour palette. So this is my new star. And I told Amy I hope she's still 30 by the time she gets it. Just because of the way I'm going with all my projects, I'm starting to really stretch out their end date because I'll be stitching on so many at once, but then that's how it is. So I'm really enjoying this. Again, it's so funny, after doing so much 1/1 on 25 count for my full coverage, going back to 2/2 on a 28 count feels a little bit like stitching with rope through a net. It feels all so big and cumbersome, but kind of in a nice way. It feels simple, sort of. The number of times I pull out one thread and go to stitching, oh no, it needs two, and I double it over. But I've only then it's only a really short bit and I get a few stitches and then I need to pull out longer ones if I'm going to do the loop start for the, anyway. So that is my last new start. And there'll be more. I know there will. I'm not stopping. Very exciting. Okay, so I've only got one more thing to show you, and that is my former monogamy piece. And that is, of course, Stained Glass Butterfly 3. Artist IvyCottageHome, charted by Stitches So Beautiful. I am 72% finished with this guy, which is just, I think last time I was about 60%. So here is my beautiful stained glass butterfly, coming along just nicely. I still love her very much. I am so pleased with this as my first ever full coverage. It's just been a really great example for me of what it's like stitching, I don't know, just stitching full coverage. I'm in an interesting spot with this in that I am at 72%. I started this on the 23rd of March. And so straight away my brain's gone, wow, 23rd of March is just around the corner. Like honestly, that's only 3-4 months away. And I thought, oh, could I have this finished by the 23rd of March so that I've done it, I've done it in a year. So I've done the maths and I have a certain amount to stitch every day and I can do it. Except adding that drive to a piece can suck the joy out of a bit, because there's a little bit like sitting down and going, I want to stitch on my other things now, and then there's part that goes, no, you've got to stitch on butterfly to get it done in a year. And then there's another part that goes, I don't want to do that. Well, what is a year matter? Who cares? And then there's still that voice that goes, I can get it done in a year. So most days I am still working on this as my focus piece because I've kind of got that goal in my mind and I don't know if I'm going to stick to it or not. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. There's another part of it that goes, yeah, just stick to it and get this out of the way, and then you can just get back to just doing lots of stitching wherever you want. I don't know. Watch this space to see whether I I keep asking myself, what does finishing it in a year mean? Are there medals given out for that? Does it matter? I'm not one to celebrate anniversaries and things like that very much. So does it, and there's just still a little voice going, yeah, that's cool. It's a cool goal to reach for. Do it. So we'll see. The other thing is that our friend Karen, the Stitching Owl, by now, from about 70% on, she doesn't show the whole cross stitch anymore in her floss tubes. She begins to just show what she's just worked on, so that at 100%, when she's finished, she gets to reveal the whole project again. And I kind of have wondered whether I'm going to do that as well or not. And then in her last Flosstube episode, she revealed the finish of her latest full coverage piece. It's much bigger than this. And she sort of had to stand back and drop the fabric down, and it unrolled. And honestly, it took my breath away. And I think it was because I hadn't seen it for a long time, because she's only been showing little bits that she's working on it. I did go like, oh, she's right, the reveal. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm deciding right now I'm going to do that. So there you go, have a look at that. It's the last you're going to see of it for a while, till you get the big reveal in a few months. From now on, you'll be seeing this half of the butterfly as I go down into, actually, again, it'll be very interesting for me as I go down into this bottom section here. I so enjoyed this for all its blues. Oh, I think I've done all my favorite parts first, but it will be so lovely in its completion. One more time. She's so lovely. I have many more full coverages that I'm gonna do. So you'll have to stick around and see what they're gonna be. Yeah, I want to stitch more now. There's more projects, no more monogamy. And I don't even want to say, so the next thing in this evolution of a floss tuber would be that I say, I want to have multiple projects, but not too many. I don't want to go over like, say, 6 or 8 or 10. And then in a few months' time, you hear me going, well, I don't know how this happened, I'm up to 20. So I'm going to skip that stage and just go, I don't care. I'm going to have heaps. Oh, happy days. Yes, yes. I have covered everything. Oh, it's very satisfying to be at the end of recording a floss tube, because I've been trying to keep in my mind, oh, don't forget you want to talk about that, and where's this, and write this down, and blah, blah. Done now, done. Till next time when I go through this again. I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who watches, who comments, who subscribes, obviously. It really does, all floss tubers say this, and we all mean it. It means the world to us to just know that we can share this and that we are received and enjoyed and engaged with by our other cross stitchers and friends. And I say friends because I know I have friends who watch this who don't cross stitch, and I am so appreciative of them. That is high praise. To not be a cross stitcher but still watch this and enjoy it and give me, you know, lovely engagement from that. And as we all also say, you know, I've made such lovely friends through doing this. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of this with me. So I'll see you next time. With that, you go enjoy your stitching. I am going to go and enjoy all of mine. And until I'm back next time, stay safe. Let's see, it's the end of November now. I reckon I'll do a Christmas floss tube. I'm not even much of a Christmas person. Yeah, see you around Christmas time. Stay well, everybody. Bye.